You've thrived as a college or university for more than a century. Your students are high achievers. Faculty are tenured experts in their field, and you've consistently delivered on your mission to prepare students for the workforce. But over the last 20 years, you've noticed drastic changes: declining enrollment, alumni struggling to land jobs after graduation, and news headlines filled with families skeptical of the value of traditional post-secondary education. After 100 years of having a sustainable business model, your customer base is disappearing. How do you respond? Whether in this example you're at the helm of a university, a healthcare company, a for-profit or nonprofit organization, most leaders think that they can easily pivot when circumstances change by simply adding or changing resources or processes. And maybe that buys time in the short term, but long term? Your value proposition, or the specific promise you've made to stakeholders and customers about how your product or service will help them solve a problem, can't change unless your business model changes. That's why survival in a drastically changing landscape requires long-term transformation, and that means a completely new business model. Here's why. Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen developed business model theory to explain the 4 interlocking systems that determine whether an organization will succeed or fail. First, there is the value proposition, the specific promise that an organization makes and then delivers to its stakeholders. Next, resources are the tangible and intangible assets required to deliver on the value propositions. As an organization works to deliver its value proposition repeatedly and effectively, processes emerge. Methods and procedures an organization uses to transform resources into outputs. Finally, there's the profit or revenue formula, the financial model that outlines how revenue is generated, costs are managed, and profits are maximized to keep the lights on. But if stakeholders are calling for changes to your core value proposition, innovations will succeed only if they fit into the existing business model. If an innovation creates friction with existing resources and processes, or if it hurts the revenue formula, forget about it. To remain competitive when market demands shift, organizations and businesses with established models can either improve with sustaining innovations or transform by using autonomous business units to create a new business model free of the influences and constraints of its current business model. So, when people are talking about a disruptive innovation, what do they have in mind? Well, for starters, there's a new business model powering that disruptive innovation, and it looks quite different from the status quo. Here's an example of disrupting the post-secondary education business model. Western Governors University is a nonprofit, online-only college that serves learners otherwise shut out of the traditional system. Most students receive their bachelor's degree in 2.5 years as they learn not from faculty focused on research, but rather a team motivated by student outcomes. Let's compare WGU's business model with a traditional higher ed model. In traditional higher ed, high school graduates enroll in a physical campus. They sign up for classes taught by faculty who, for the most part, are rewarded for their research, not on the learning of their students. And students progress toward graduation largely not based on what they learn, but mostly based on completing the credit hours of their classes. The result? Campuses with low economies of scale and high fixed costs that consistently increase. And as a result of that, they charge students more in tuition over time. WGU's business model stands in stark contrast. It's an online-only experience. The faculty who design the courses are experts in teaching and learning. Those who teach the courses are exclusively focused on how their students are doing. And students progress to graduation as they demonstrate mastery of what they're learning, not based on time. That means they can go faster, and WGU is able to invest in experiences that scale, which helps keep tuition ultra affordable. Hyper-focused on student outcomes, WGU is disrupting higher education with a clear and coherent business model that increases access, improves the relevance of learning outcomes, and lowers cost. Its bottom line is connecting talent to opportunity. This is simply one example that shows why incremental improvements to a traditional business model often aren't enough to respond to rapidly changing circumstances. New models are needed. In fact, because changing one aspect of your business model causes a ripple effect across the others, 99% of efforts deemed disruptive fail within incumbent business models. This barely scratches the surface of business model theory. If you'd like to learn more, head over to christenseninstitute.org/theory/business models.